Saguaro boy.
Hey guys, it's Alex. Chris is not with me today, regrettably, because of all the weeks in the world, of which I think there's 52, he chose to go on vacation the week that State of Decay comes out, the game that he was looking forward to and I was looking forward to more than anything. But the good news is I am here in the flesh, and I was able to get my hands on it, and I've been playing it and having a really good time with it. So I thought I would just share my initial impressions with you guys. Obviously, Chris is going to have a lot to say about this, I'm sure. So when he gets back this weekend, we're going to do a follow-up video that's kind of a more robust review of the game once we've both had a chance to spend some more time with it. But for now, let's take a look at my first adventure in State of Decay. And I have to warn everybody, obviously there's going to be a lot of spoilers. I didn't get that far into the game yet, but just so you know, fair warning.
Holy shit, man! Holy shit!
Hold on, I'm coming!
So the game opens with me as a man named Marcus and my fishing buddy Ed under attack by zombies by the waterfront.
You okay?
One of those psychos tried to bite me, but yeah, I'm fine.
Well, we can't just stay out here in the open, that's for damn sure.
Ranger station?
Ranger station. Maybe we can find some help there.
So at this point, when they decide to head for the nearest safe building, which is the ranger station, you have to make your way up this hill. And there's a few zombies on the way. It's pretty light as far as difficulty, but I think they're trying to introduce some of the game mechanics and teach you how to sneak and how to do melee combat and all of that.
Here, help me move this against the wall. We need to clear a space for the wounded.
So when you finally arrive at the ranger station, there's a group of other survivors led by a guy called Thomas, and he kind of gives you some ideas of different things that you can do, looking for survivors and helping the people there. Also, you finally get access to a locker, which is where you can keep stuff and you can withdraw items. At this point, my weapon was broken, so I was able to replace it with a 2x4. And also, he tells you that there's a water tower up behind the building that you can climb up to survey the surroundings. So that was the next thing that I did. There's a pretty nice map system, and you can set markers and everything, as is pretty typical at this point in games. So when you get up on top of the water tower, you can go into kind of an over-the-shoulder camera, and it flags things with question marks. And when you look at these things, a little status bar fills up, and then you discover those locations, and those are permanently discovered on your map at that point. So it's kind of a neat feature that recurs later on when I played, where you find like a cell tower or water tower, something that's high. You can survey the surroundings and discover things that you might be interested in exploring, or potential survivors on your map.
I see some place worth a scavenging run.
One of the things that happened when I was scoping the area out was that gunshots were heard in the distance, so it flagged an area of interest and suggested that you go there if you want to see if maybe there's a survivor that you can help. So after doing a little bit of rooting through some of the nearby cabins and tents, I headed down to the riverside, and there's more gunshots, and there's a lady that was fighting off zombies. So I helped her, and it turns out she's like she's in the army or something, and so she's really skilled with firearms, which kind of highlights that you can look at the menus and stuff and see that all the different characters have different aptitudes. Some are better at certain things than others, and by utilizing different skills, you can level those skills up for the characters. So the more they do stuff, the better they get at it, but there do seem to be kind of underlying aptitudes that certain people have for certain things, which obviously you want to utilize. We get back to the ranger station, and of course it would be way too easy if everything was going smoothly up to this point. So it turns out everyone's dead, and then in a classic zombie movie beginner's mistake, Ed is checking one of the bodies, and it comes to life and attacks him. And with him injured, all we have to go on is a radio signal from a radio that they find with one of the dead people. and there's a girl on the other end that she's got a base set up at a church in the nearby town. So we head out of the park to go towards the town and find that the bridge is destroyed. So after navigating around and climbing up the riverbank, we find a vehicle, and then at that point I headed straight for the church.
For good is with a shot to the head. Anything else, they just keep coming.
So you're saying those things are zombies?
So the church seems to be a pretty defensible position. It's surrounded by walls, and they've set up kind of a watchtower that they shoot zombies from. And when you get there, the girl that runs it, Lily, starts to show you around. They set up some of the great classic zombie movie cliches. There's Alan, the unwieldy sheriff that doesn't want to take shit from anybody, and there's the pastor that wants to help everyone. And the character development actually so far is pretty cool. I'm pretty satisfied with it, and the voice acting is solid. So after Lily shows you around, they introduce the mechanic of friends, which when you do nice things for a character, they can become your friend. And if someone's your friend, you can switch to that character at any time. So the army girl, since I had saved her, was a friend. So I switched to her to play as her for a while, which enabled my first character to rest and recover his health at the base. So I switched to her, and Lily sent me to a nearby cell tower to scope out the area.
Looks like a good vantage point up there.
So it was just a quick little trip out to the cell tower, and from up there, I saw a nearby veterinary clinic, and they assumed that you could get antibiotics there, or antibiotics as she calls them. The next step was to plan for a trip to the veterinary clinic with Alan, the kind of douchebag sheriff guy. While I was up in the cell tower, though, one of the locations that I found was a potential den of survivors. So I don't know if it's time sensitive or not, but I'm assuming it is. So I headed there first. It was just across the street, and it began a little, I don't know, I don't want to call it a mini game, but kind of a mini game where the survivors are trying to loot everything from this house, and you have to fight off the zombies, because every time a zombie breaks in, it freezes the progress of them looting, kind of like a capture the point or something.
Let's do this quietly.
And after that, I loaded them all into a car and drove them back to the base.
Zombies up there. Go through or go around.
The next order of business was to head to the veterinary clinic to team up with the sheriff guy and one of the other survivors and try to find some medicine. So at this point, I noticed a real distinct shift in the mood of the game because it was nighttime and there's kind of moonlight and everything's dark, and you could see the zombies' eyes glowing at night and stuff. And it's when I started to get really excited about it because it had the very zombie movie feel to it. I drove out there, and the sheriff made a point not to drive the car all the way there because it would attract attention. So I got out, and I kind of stealthed my way through some bushes over to the clinic. And then there was another gathering materials mini-game kind of thing. And then there was kind of a dispute between the characters afterwards where the sheriff wanted to go on foot, but the other character's bag had ripped, and she was dropping stuff, so she wanted to take a car. I don't know if there's different routes that this can go, depending on what you do, but the sheriff ran off on foot, who actually, he's not a sheriff, he's like a park ranger or something, he acts like a sheriff. I ended up just following him as he ran away on foot, but in the car, because I was kind of worried that if I left him and went back to the base that he would get killed or something, so I just followed behind him with the car, which ended up being good because we ran into a horde of zombies, and I was able to defend him from them. Overall, so far so good with this game. I was excited about it and worried leading into it that it might not live up to my expectations, but so far it's really exceeded my expectations. It's really fun. It's extremely fun. It's great to explore. there's been a few weird graphical bugs and stuff, like some pop-in issues where I was driving on the street and suddenly I hit an invisible wall and then it loads and it's actually a car, or like I was able to kind of run through a door at one point for some reason. Pretty minor things as far as I'm concerned. I have had nothing game-breaking, and honestly I've played games like Assassin's Creed with worse bugs than that. So, and the visuals I'm really impressed with. People had some skepticism about the quality of the visuals, but I think they look great. I have no complaints at all. Chris and I will be releasing a full, thorough review of this in the near future, but for now I'm going to keep playing because I really love it.